Hello there, and welcome to your cognitive screening. My name is Calliope, and I will be administering your test today. How you doing? I see. Well, I hope by the time you leave this screening, you feel even just the littlest bit better. Let me go ahead and get out my protocol. Let's see. Cognitive screening protocol. So I'd just like to ask you a few simple questions before we begin. If I could just have your full legal name, and your date of birth. Wonderful. And is that your preferred name, or do you like to go by something different? Okay, wonderful. Do you have any prior history of any head injury at all? Good. Any serious illness, perhaps requiring hospitalization? And any cognitive deficits at all? Any issues with your cognition? So perhaps you might have brain fog, or you find it very difficult when speaking to find the right words, or maybe you have quite a bit of an issue with doing math, for example. Okay. Very good. Now, our very first test is going to involve comprehension, and many of these tests are quite simple in nature. So we have, for example, spatial relationships, attention and short-term learning, general knowledge, abstract thinking, that sort of thing. We are looking for any areas that maybe you are having some difficulty with, that we can see if something's going on. All right? Just do the best you can, and if you do struggle with something, don't feel bad about it, because that's important for us to know. All right. So if I could have you follow a few directions for me. I'm going to ask you if you can put your right hand on your left knee. Fairly simple, yeah. Your right hand on your left knee. Yes, just like that. Very good. And if you could place your left hand on your head and turn your head to the right. Place your hand on your head, your left hand, and then turn your head to the right. Yes, so for me, it looked like this. Just like that. So you did very well with that. Now, if I could have you raise your left foot and put your right hand on your left arm. Raise your left foot and put your right hand on your left arm. Yes, there you go. A big part of the comprehension is that you're understanding the difference between left and right, and that you are able to perform an action without trouble, that you understand what I'm asking you. Now for language. I am going to hold up some objects. If you could just tell me what they are. Start right here. Right here. What is this object? That is a pair of scissors. Very good. And what about this object right here? That is a Sharpie marker or a permanent marker. Very good. Now, what is this? This little object right here. That is a little snowflake charm. Very good. And if you have anyone who has longer hair around you, you very likely know what this is. Yes, that is a hair elastic, a hair tie, a rubber band, many different names for this one. Good, and what about this one? What kind of object is this? Pencil, mechanical pencil. Can you just tell me what color is the little clip here? What color is the clip? Yes, that is yellow. And let's see. What is this object? Yes, it looks like a little brush with these tiny plastic bristles. Very good. And last object. Very simple, very easy, like many of our objects here. What is this one? Good. This is a little popsicle stick. Tiny, tiny specimen stick. Excellent. Now I am going to have you read, write, and repeat certain phrases. So for this, I'm going to get out a piece of notebook paper and just put this at the top of my clipboard. And let's see, I use my regular pen, my sharp mark. Let's just use my regular pen here. I am going to be writing out a few phrases here, some short sentences. creaking and cracking from our little desk here. So I am just going to have you read these sentences for me. Can you see these okay? Okay. What does our sentence right here say? The black dog loves to sleep. Very good. And what about this one with our rather large space in between? What does this one say? The greenhouse is on the corner. Very good. And our last one right here. What does this particular sentence say? Good. The red bird flies quickly. Now I am just going to have you go ahead and write these same sentences down right below them. So I will give you a pencil here, and if you could just write down below. Good. Let me see. Excellent. So now I'm just going to be speaking each sentence aloud, and if I could just have you repeat them back to me, please. The black dog loves to sleep. Good. The greenhouse is on the corner. The red bird flies quickly. Wonderful. We will not need that piece of paper again, but we will keep that just for our records for if we have another one of these screenings. Now, I am going to have you hold some objects in your hands, and I'll have you close your eyes. So what's going to happen is, let's see if I grab this for example. I'll have you close your eyes and I will place the object in your hand, and you can manipulate it if you'd like. Just feel around it and tell me this is a pen. Now I'm going to keep this one out of the running so that you don't get a free one there. But I'm going to have you hold some other objects and just tell me what you think they are. So for example, if I put this in your hand, just take a little feel. What do you think that is? Good. That is our little sensory brush from before. And now, what about this object? What do you think that is? Good. That is our little snowflake charm. This actually came as part of a Christmas gift from my best friend. It was last year, maybe the year before. That's our little snowflake. And now the next object. I could have you just take a feel of this one. Sharpie marker, very good. That one's fairly easy to identify if you've ever held one before. And let's see, how about this one? You could just tell me what this particular object is. Yes, that is our hair elastic. And now, what about this one? It's our little popsicle stick. Very good. And how about this one? What does this particular object feel like? That is our scissor. Very good. Last one. This object. What is that? Mechanical pencil. You should recognize that from doing the little writing test. Very good. So, excellent. Now I'm going to be doing a different sensory test in which I am just going to be writing numbers on your palm, and I'll just have you identify what number I am writing here. So for example, if I went like this, that would be a 4. Or this would be a 6. So if you could just tell me what number I am writing on your palm here. That's an 8, 7, 1, 2, 0, 3, 9, 6, 4, 5. Excellent. Wonderful. Now we are going to do one last sensory test, and this is 2-point discrimination. I will be touching you on one arm, just the once, or maybe in two places. One place, two places. Or it might be one arm or on both arms. You just tell me what you feel, whether it's one or two touches. One, two, two, a little tricky, did the fingers far apart. Two. One, two, 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 one, one, two. Excellent. Very good. Now I am going to have you do something a little similar to our comprehension test, and this is to test your ability to perform an action. And I'm going to use this pen right here for our test. Very easy. I'm just going to have you pick up the pen, and then if I can have you uncap it, put the cap on the other side, right? That's all you have to do. So, pick it up, uncap, recap. Very good. Now, let me get my clean piece of paper. Slide that on top. Now, if I could have you draw a clock with the hands signifying that it is 5:10. If I could have you just draw a clock. Okay, and the numbers. Good. Right, and the hands. So 5:10. Just see that. Okay, looks like we've got the short hand at the 5, the long hand at the 2, so that looks very good. Now let me just take that paper. And that is another one we will keep just to monitor any changes in your cognition in the future. I'm going to take that pen from you. We will just recap it. Very good. So let me see here. Action. Correctly. Draw clock. Correctly. 5:10. There we go. Now I'm going to have you copy some finger positions for me. What that means is maybe I have my hands like this. And if you could just mimic that, you could copy that. Okay? And what if I do something like this? Finger guns. Here you go. And what about this? Okay. And this. Good. And this one. Put your pinky down. It's much harder for my non-dominant hand than it is for my dominant here. Good. And if you could just fold over the tops of your fingers, over the rest of your fingers. Good. Tabletop. Very easy. Good. How about one of these? Okay. One of these. Good. And one of these. Excellent. And one of these. Very good. Very good. Now we are going to be performing some math. I know that is your favorite. So this is called Serial 8s, which is a bit of a variation off of the Serial 7s test, in which I'm going to have you take the number 100, and if you could subtract the number 8 from that. So we have 100. If you subtract 8, what do you get? Very good. And if you subtract 8 from that? Excellent. And what about from that? Good. From that? Okay. And next? Right? And next? Next one? And last one. Very good. 100, 92, 86, 78, 70, 62, 56, 48, and 40. Wonderful. Now, something that can happen when our cognition is impaired, when our brain is impaired, is we can experience a loss in correct moral judgment and a loss of inhibitions. So I'm going to describe a very short scenario. If I could have you just tell me what you would do in that scenario. You are walking along the street in a city. There are many people passing by. Forwards, backwards. Some people bump into you. Some people go around you. You keep walking along the street, and you come upon a wallet on the ground. Just a simple brown leather wallet. You look inside, and it has a few $100 bills in it. It has some different cards in it, credit card, debit card, as well as some different identification cards. What do you do with this wallet? Okay, very good. Now I am going to have you repeat 3 words for me, and I want you to, in the back of your mind, just hold on to those words. I'm going to have you remember these words later on. So, if I could just have you repeat the words boat, lime, carpet. Boat, lime, carpet. Wonderful. Just keep those in the back of your mind. And we will move on to my second page of my screening protocol. Very good. Now we're going to test your memory. So I'm going to have you describe an event that occurred within the last 2 days. It can be as interesting or as mundane as you would like, just if you could accurately describe an event that occurred in the last 2 days. Okay. Okay, and can you tell me just a little bit about the environment you were in? Good. That will certainly satisfy that. Now, if I could have you describe an event that occurred more than 5 years ago, something in your long-term memory. Good. Very good. Yes, I think that certainly satisfies that requirement. Now, to test your concentration, I am going to have you spell a few words forward and backward. So if I could have you spell the word night, as in the opposite of day, night, forward and then back. Good. Excellent. And the word apple, if you could spell that forward and then backward. There we go. Good. And the word spray. You could spell that forward and back. Good. Yes, yarps. Spray spelled backwards is yarps. Now, for our short-term recall, if you could just recall the words that I had you remember, the 3 unrelated words that I asked you to repeat a few minutes ago. Boat, lime, carpet. Good. You remember better than I do. Now, I am going to have you do a little abstract thinking here. I'm going to have you describe the relationship between a few groups of 3 items. So the first one is snail, cat, deer. What is the relationship between these 3 items? Snail, cat, deer. These are all animals. Sunny, cloudy, rainy. What is the relationship between sunny, cloudy, rainy? Weather. Excellent. We're having weather. And the last group, lemonade, water, soda pop. What ties these 3 words together? Lemonade, water, soda pop. Yes, these are beverages or drinks. Now I'm going to have you interpret an idiom, a saying. You can't see the forest for the trees. What do you think the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees means. Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds good to me. I actually don't really know what that particular idiom means, so I'm glad to have had that explained. Now, I am going to ask you about your orientation to time, place, and person. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If you could just tell me these to the best of your ability. So, what time was your appointment? 2 p.m., good. What is the current date? Excellent. And day of the week? Wonderful. And the year? Right? And where are we? What city? What county? And the state? And the country? Excellent. And now for our last section, the general knowledge. If you could just tell me to the best of your ability, who is the governor of our state? And the mayor? What is the state capital? And the county seat? And the national capital? And if you could just name some nearby cities. Just a couple. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that works. Now let me just grab, there we are, your file here, or rather your papers. Let's just take a look. Okay, excellent. So, I am just going to keep these with your clock drawing and your writing. And that concludes our test. So, you did wonderfully. I do not see any reason for us to be concerned about any cognitive deficits, any issues with the brain at all. So, did you have any questions for me at all? Okay, wonderful. So, I'm going to hold on to this. Let's just put that in the binder. So if we ever have any issues in the future, or if we think there might be an issue with your cognition, we can take these papers out and we can compare your results with your previous results. There we go. So, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me for this cognitive screening and for being so cooperative. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.